Welcome to the inaugural episode of The Herd, a new series with Dave Michels and Zeus Kerravala, where we discuss things that we've heard in the enterprise communications sector. My name is Kathleen Lassiter, and I'll be your host every week. The first story that broke this week was Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise partnering with RingCentral. I saw that you both wrote about that on No Jitter. Zeus, did you see that one coming?
I don't know if I specifically saw Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise coming. Certainly, when you look at Ring's strategy for growth, it has been to partner with the traditional communication vendors and have them white label their products. So it does make some sense. So if I were to say,
come on, Zeus, you didn't see that one coming. There was no indication whatsoever. I think the folks at Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise were surprised by this one.
I think they had to do something, though, right? They weren't converting their base, and I think if you look at the traction that Avaya, I've talked to some Avaya resellers, and the Avaya small business base is very interested in ACO, but I don't think you could say the same for ALE. But I do know that Ring's, the person in charge of strategic channels has been very, very aggressive in going after more and more companies. I wouldn't be surprised to see Verizon or lots of other companies pivot towards Ring.
I agree. I think I think we're running out of legacy telecom companies for RingCentral to go after. There's a few left, but NEC got away. I think Mitel is pretty well committed to the strategy they're on.
Yeah.
So I think the growth opportunity for RingCentral now will be service providers and carriers around the world.
Yeah, no, and I think they've got I think they've proven that they can make that model work. They're willing to put up the money, right? They paid ALE, I think, $100 million upfront for for pre-sales and things like that. So they're willing to commit some capital to it.
So one question that I have is, what happens with Rainbow?
So first off, nothing happens to Rainbow initially because this deal is nothing's going to happen until Q1 next year. And then longer term, I think the vision is for Rainbow to become much more focused on CPaaS and IoT services.
I think the branding of the new product as Rainbow Office also could help the overall Rainbow branding. Because then, once they're buying Rainbow Office, we also have the Rainbow Developer product and the Rainbow Private Cloud. Rainbow's not a super well-known brand, and I think its association with Ring can actually help raise its profile.
So who do you think this is better for, ALE or Ring?
Well, short term, I think it's better for ALE. I do think, for a company that's as old as ALE with the big install base they have, they really didn't have a credible public cloud product, a SaaS product. And so this gives them one instantly. And so I do think it's better for them short term. Long term, clearly Ring, if you listen to Vlad Shmunis, the CEO of Ring, whenever he talks, I think he's going after world domination, at least as far as cloud goes. And this is certainly helping them on the way there. So
if you look at what happened to Avaya, Avaya was pretty slow to public cloud services. They struck this arrangement with RingCentral over a year ago, and it really accelerated Avaya's transition toward being a cloud company. We've seen them really ramp up their subscription base, other cloud services. They've launched their CCaaS. So I think in many ways this could really accelerate a number of things for Alcatel-Lucent in the same way. I don't think that there's a question I've been getting is Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise has a customer base of something like 40 million seats, and I don't think they're all going to go to RingCentral. I think that Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise is very focused on their enterprise, on their vertical plays, and a lot of those verticals are very much committed to either on-prem equipment or private cloud type of solutions, like defense, for example. Hospitality is one that kind of tends to go with their private stuff.
I actually asked that question about addressable base on the pre-call. And ALE said there's an immediate 2 million subscribers they have that they'll target this towards. And so I think from that perspective, that gives you a little bit of size of the TAM that they're looking at. Obviously, it'll be bigger than that down the road, I suppose. But that's about the size of the Ring base today. I think for the customers they have that want to go to public cloud, this gives them an answer right now versus having to tell them to wait to build one, which is, as you said, similar to the situation Avaya was in.
Do you guys have any thoughts on the Avaya OneCloud branding changes?
Yeah, OneCloud, you and I talked about sort of in back channel conversations, David, it is a branding term. They've had it before. and they've expanded the use of it. I think what it does for Avaya, it gives them, I guess in some ways, a cloud lighthouse to row to that, everything if you watch the earnings call listen to the earnings call with Jim, everything he talks about is cloud and subscription now. And I don't think the product's really well aligned that way. If you look at the different branding they had with IX and Ready Now, and even before that,
it was way too complicated. Not only did they have too many names before, but they had the names didn't make sense. There was no relationship between them.
So now the idea is, anyways, from a development perspective, that OneCloud's the brand. You can deliver it in multiple ways, but the experience in theory should be the same.
So what are the specific changes that come along with this branding change?
Well, like Zeus said, it really is marketing focus, which I think the biggest change actually is that Avaya is leading with marketing. Avaya has traditionally been very engineering focused, and the marketing kind of follows. So this is the first time we're seeing the company really leading with marketing, at least in quite some time. You can never say the first time with Avaya because they're like 100 years old, but the first time in my lifetime, put it that way, that they're really leading with marketing. They've dramatically changed the way that we talk about their products, the way their products are positioned. So it's mostly right now branding and marketing and marketing initiative.
Yeah, I know when I talked to Simon about it, I brought up the fact that a lot of times the development is done within specific regions, even within specific teams and regions. And he said the company is thinking about how to move away from that, right? They want things to be, that really have a common framework for development. And that's not, as you mentioned, that's not the way they've done it in the past. And I think they led with engineering because that's frankly, that was their core strength. But it's good to see Jim invest some money, Chirika, the CEO, invest some money in some more money in marketing and take it a little more seriously.
So let's move on to our next topic. Genesys made a multi-cloud announcement. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think it's pretty significant for Genesys because now they are in a position with their Engage platform that they can accommodate their customer if they want to be on AWS, if they want to be on Oracle, if they want to be in Google, if they want to be in Azure, whatever they want to be, they can be. And that's more important than it may sound. Walmart, for example, was really driving its suppliers not to be using Amazon AWS services. And so that could be hard if you're using technology platforms that only work in Amazon. So a lot of companies have very strict preferences about where they want their applications to be running. And now Genesys, I think, is probably the first that could really say it doesn't matter.
And we really haven't had anything multi-cloud yet. If you look at when enterprises talk about multi-cloud, it's not really multi-cloud as much as it's just multiple clouds. Multi-cloud is being able to take information from different workloads or in the same workload and move it between different cloud providers. And that's what ALE is trying to do. And I think the significance of it comes in regionally. Like if you look, that AWS is strong. They're all strong in North America, but then AWS has got some strength in South Africa. Azure just built a POP there, right? Azure is strong in the Middle East. Right, Google's got strength in Asia, right?
Good point.
And so from a regional standpoint, if you're a global company, one of the difficulties of moving to cloud is that you can't pick a single cloud provider. So now what Genesys can do is allow their customers to deploy their infrastructure across all these different cloud platforms, but have it look like one cloud. And I think that's pretty significant. It's pretty sophisticated.
I expect most of the industry, most of the premises-based vendors to get there because of the improvements around Kubernetes and containers and all these things. And so we'll get there, but Genesys has gotten there now, and I think that's pretty significant.
There's a lot of specific nuances per cloud provider. So the tip, kudos to them.
One quick thought that I would love to get from both of you before we wrap this up. Virtual Enterprise Connect 2020, thumbs up or down?
People have different objectives when they go to a conference or an event like that. And if you're going to sit in the sessions and pay attention to the panels and the speakers, and then the virtual event is perfect and in many ways kind of better. And so I think that part they nailed it. But I'm missing that social capital, those in between conversations and that are so important in an event like that are not occurring in a virtual event.
There's a lot of questions people will ask you one-on-one, right? Because it's specific about their environment, but especially users, but they're not going to ask that in a public forum, right? So people say,
that's what I meant by social capital. Some things just don't work very well online.
I'll give them Enterprise Connect a big thumbs up because I think they did as good a job as they could trying to shift the medium from live to virtual. But it still wasn't the same. But I'd like to see them incorporate some of those capabilities into the live event whenever it comes back.
All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. That concludes our inaugural episode. On behalf of Dave Michels and Zeus Kerravala, thanks for watching. I'm Kathleen Lassiter, and we'll be back next week with What We Heard.